check, 1, 2. One, two, good, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See anything wiggling over there? 1, 2, 3.
This is a test.
Do we have anything over there?
We'll be able to go behind us.
Well, you're saying we can. He's saying no.
Is this okay? Is it looking all right to you? You okay?
Check, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Hello, everybody. 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going, guys. Keep going, guys. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
We'll get started and then
We got any more?
we'll go in here in a minute. So we'll get started and then we can
Check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 4. You're trying to hear it through there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was just worried about level into the system, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We don't? Check, 1. I don't.
Okay, gents, let's get in. Let's go. Let's go.
On there, check, 1, 2, 3.
Doesn't matter to me.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No audio in the recorder. No audio in the recorder. How come 1, 2, 3? Oh, there it is. I had to hit record. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay, we're good. It wasn't an input, correct. Check, check. You can stop it. Check, 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 check. Since need formatted. Just a.
Christopher's thinking they're
This 1, 2, 3. Now, audio is obviously delayed to my TV, but I assume it's not being delayed anywhere else. Check, check. Yeah, might as well, yes. If enough this space, I would just start so we don't have to worry about it. Because you know the. So 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Check, check, check. So this still. Check, check, check.
Does everybody get drinks tickets? You get them from Cindy at the table. I don't know what I'm going to do. I never use mine. I usually give them to people. But he always asks for them. You good, Josh? No, the sound, Josh. Is it okay? There'll be gaps in between all the pieces, and then we just run up and get some ice water, no problem. on the back, and you wear it. You just wear it all the time. Yeah, that was certainly walking billboard. Any shots? Everyone knows we're waiting for one adjustment. Right? It's always you give me a shirt when you make. You give me a pew, not even a shirt. Oh, good. Go ahead. Great. Perfect. Oh, you're talking about the purple ones we had? Yeah, those were bad. Well, they start off bad because they're purple.
Well, that's true, yeah. Right. I like this hat, but I got to get one like what you have here. Where did you find it? Oh, yeah? Good place to find a Panama hat, yeah. Right? Yeah.
Well, they'll give you life.
Yeah, this is like, it works, but it's like a fishing tackle.
They're waiting for one adjustment.
That's fine. Did you write the fanfare?
Yeah. Okay, we go. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Wow, fanfare. Wow, fanfare. One more time. All set. Here we go.
Welcome to the heart of the city and the 40th anniversary of the River City Brass. It's the Birthday Bash. We're at the Gateway Clipper Fleet. I'm Jim Cunningham from WQED FM, and what a joy to bring you the band live throughout the afternoon. Of course, it's a fundraising event, so we're trying to keep the band going, and you can help out by subscribing to the band's concerts when they appear on the website and by buying tickets to the upcoming season. Abby Langhorst will be there. Abby is percussionist with the ensemble and operations director, in charge of a little bit of everything, yeah?
I don't want you false advertising, only percussion sometimes, but definitely operations. So we're excited to have you all here virtually and in person. We're here at the Gateway Clipper Fleet, and we're so excited to have you all joining for our 40th anniversary birthday bash.
It's going to be great fun, and folks will be coming along the gangplank here. They'll be getting their picture in front of the lifesaver, but we'll try not to get in their way, and I'll try not to drop my microphone in the Allegheny or the Monongahela here.
I think this is the
Monongahela, absolutely. So what's going on this afternoon? Set the scene for everybody who's at home watching on their computer or wherever.
Absolutely. So we're going to have a mix of our good 12-piece River City Brass Ensemble playing, as well as people get the chance to experience and enjoy some hors d'oeuvres on the dock as well as on the boat. And we have a signature cocktail in celebration of the 40th anniversary birthday.
And our hope is to encourage people who have been part of the 40-year celebration from the very beginning. Some of the folks who will be joining us today to come along and say hello. So we'll be interviewing them as we go.
Absolutely, and there will be a premiere of a River City Brass documentary called Boldest Brass, the River City Brass story, streamed online and here on the boat during dinner.
Excellent. And the music that we heard to begin, the fanfare, this was the WOW fanfare.
Absolutely, the WOW fanfare, which was written for the opening of the WOW airline at the Pittsburgh International Airport, written by our very own James Gourlay.
Fantastic. All right, I see people are waiting to come up the gangplank here.
And I think it's time to turn it over to James Gourlay, down with our 12-piece band.
Maestro, congratulations. Take it away.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Lovely to see you all here this afternoon. We're going to continue our short program this afternoon with the Prince of Denmark's March. We hope you enjoy it.
River City Brass, Mr. Ostrowski, whose first name is?
Jim.
Jim, just like me. Nice to meet you, Jim. And thanks for helping the band. You've been 5 years on the board.
A little over 5 years, yes, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to work with such a fine organization.
Now tell me, who hooked you? How'd you get started?
So former chairman of the board, Don Jacobson, introduced me to the board about 5 years ago. He was stepping down and asked if I'd be willing to take on take his footsteps on in working with the orchestra. Unfortunately, I can't fill his shoes, but nevertheless, I'm trying my best.
So how long have you been hearing the River City Brass? Does it go back to the Robert Burnett days?
Yeah, so when I first got out of college, I have a degree in music marketing from Clarion University. And when I first came out, I worked with Mr. Burnett, just soliciting tickets and working with the orchestra on selling tickets to different shows and such. Then I moved on from there and went into the finance role working for Federated Investors. And then, as I said, Don Jacobson got me back involved with the orchestra.
Why do you love the River City Brass? Why are you helping?
I'm a trumpet player by nature, so listening to brass all my life has been just a pleasure.
Thank you so much for supporting River City Brass, Jim Ostrowski. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Enjoy the 40th.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Here's Marching with Sousa.
James Gourlay, River City Brass 40th Anniversary Birthday Bash in the sunshine. The Gateway Clipper Fleet, we're at the heart of the city. I'm Jim Cunningham. Don Jacobson is here, Paul Fariga. These guys are the center of it all. You make it happen. You're doing the fundraising, you're behind the scenes, working so hard to make this band what it is, a phenomenal success known around the world. Now, Don Jacobson, please come up to my rail here and tell me about your role on the Board of Trustees.
Well, I was on the board for about 6 years, and I was chairman of the board for a couple of years. And I'm also an enormous fan of the River City Brass. It's a great organization, great staff, talented, and it brings a stronger reputation to Pittsburgh. It really does. So it's been fun, and I'm thrilled to still be involved.
No question about it. We're involved for many years at WQED, playing the recordings on the air and sharing them so that they go out on the airwaves. We've always broadcast the Christmas concert live, which is great fun, so we love working with James. He comes in and helps us with the fundraiser, and we're deeply grateful to you for keeping it going. And I think I met a colleague of yours, Mr. Ostrowski, who came on at your invitation not too long ago.
He did, yes he did. And he is also a trumpet player in addition to being a board member. Great guy, we used to work together.
Help me introduce Paul Fariga here. What do you know about Paul and what he's up to?
Paul Fariga's been on the board of this organization since the early 1800s, and he's done a tremendous amount for the organization, and he's helped me personally doing some mentoring. So Paul's a great guy as well.
And Paul, I know you work with the Wordsmith Company. You've done work with the Scribblers, with journalists. You've done all kinds of amazing things, including your work with the band here. How did you get involved? What's the story?
Well, it's started with a tuba because I really wanted to be a musician. And my parents convinced me that that wasn't really a good line of work. And so I became a journalist instead, and then went on into PR, actually a degree in broadcasting too. So, but I can't get away from the music, and so that's how it really all started. I love the band. The concept of the brass band in the United States that the River City represents is just, there's nothing to compare with what they do, and it's been my honor to be on the board for the last 10 years or so. I actually started a few months before James became the artistic director. So it's been a great ride the whole way.
Unique in the world, our River City Brass, one of a kind in America. Absolutely amazing, and thank you for your constant support. You're one of the supporters of the event today. Tell me about Wordsmith and what I can do if I sign up with Wordsmith.
Right, it's called WordWrite.
WordWrite.
Okay, no worries. We're in the business of helping organizations uncover, develop, and share their great untold story. And there's a particular story we call the capital S story. It's the reason that someone would buy from you, work for you, invest in you, partner with you. And we are in the business of uncovering that, developing it, and sharing it, primarily for professional services companies, law firms, accounting firms, etc.
I will look at your website carefully. WordWrite. We got it right. All right, Don Jacobson, Paul Fariga, thanks for helping today. The band will play on with Maestro James Gourlay.
Thank you very much. Captain America.
James Gourlay, River City Brass. We're on the dock, the Gateway Clipper Fleet in downtown Pittsburgh, celebrating 40 years. It's absolutely wonderful. You can help the band by getting one of their recordings, which are available from their website. A mere $15. It's a bargain, and you can listen while you're in the car, moving around on the parkways or on a nice long journey this summer. What a fabulous day, Abby Longhorse.
Absolutely. We could not have asked for better weather for this lovely indoor and outdoor event today here.
So will you return to live audiences in the fall? Do you know what the plan is yet for the band?
It's still in the works, as like many arts organizations, the pandemic has really thrown us for a loop. So we are doing our best to be back in person for as many people as we can, as safely and as soon as we can.
Now I have to figure out exactly how to do it, but you can see concerts. You have many things on YouTube, but also some of your concerts from this past season, you just had one last night, are available with a $25 ticket. I have to figure out the technical rigmarole of getting to it.
Yep, so we were doing a live stream concert last night at the Palace Theater in Greensburg. To my knowledge, that isn't available right now, but it might be available in the future on our YouTube page, which is River City Brass. Now, I do have a guest coming down the gangplank for you.
All right, wonderful. Who's going to join us? Please, please, who's coming? Keith, come on over here. Here comes Keith Smith, very important to the River City Brass. Keith, congratulations on this amazing day, the 40th anniversary of River City Brass. Would you believe it that it would make it to 40 years?
No, I didn't, and we had some very difficult years, which I'm just delighted to see the success.
How did you get involved? I bet you've been around since Robert Burnett. Did you know the original director of the band?
I wasn't here at the original, but a chap, good friend of mine by the name of George.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you. Please introduce your guest here. Who do you have with you?
Hi, I'm Bobby. I'm his wife.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
Coming for many years. It's a lot of fun. Great day you got for this, so.
It's absolutely perfect. Now tell me, for folks who are watching on their computer, somebody might be looking at it at home. We had a Californian, I understand, was watching, but what is the scene like here? What is the atmosphere like for the 40th anniversary? The breeze is blowing.
Everything is wonderful, and I just hope everyone will come back when the concerts resume. I now remember it was my good friend George Owens who introduced me to the board and served for a good many years. But I'm really delighted to see this, and I'm very hopeful that our great success will continue.
Why do you support the band so generously? You've given an awful lot of time.
Well, I think it is one of Pittsburgh's unique organizations. It's different, it's affordable, and I think great entertainment.
I hope we'll see everyone in the fall. We hope we're going to be back to concerts with people in the seats in the near future.
Everybody's here in shorts, and it's warm, and they're enjoying it down on the river, which is what Pittsburgh is so great about. It's a nice place to do this.
Behind you, the boats are going down the Monongahela River. It's so great. And Abby, do we have more music from the band? Are they ready to go?
I think we do have more music, so let's hear from James Gourlay and the River City Brass.
Here they come. Maestro is ready with more music. You too, bless you for all your great work on behalf of River City Brass. It's wonderful.
Thank you. It's fun.
Thank you.
Three Rivers, well, kind of. We're docked here at the Gateway Clipper Fleet. I'm Jim Cunningham, and I'm here with Dominic Ruprecht, the chairman of the board of River City Brass. Dominic, great to be with you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming out here to this great day for great music in River City Brass.
Why are you so generous with your time and helping the band?
Well, you know, there's just nothing in Pittsburgh or frankly anywhere else in the world that has this amazing music where you just come out and have fun and you come to a concert and just everyone is happy. There's nothing like it where, you know, you have the traditional music where you go in your tuxedos and everyone's all stuffy and sitting all formally. Here, we're just outside, having a good time, tapping your feet, getting up and dancing, and that's what it's all about, right?
No question about it. We love being with the band all throughout the season, and we're always with you during the holidays. We do a broadcast at Christmas. Maybe we can do some more live broadcasts in the future for sure. Certainly there will be another fundraising event. Why should people support this band? You've given at least one good reason already, but you're helping them raise money. What do you tell folks?
Well, what we tell people is, again, this is the only full-time brass band in the world. They're the only people to do this. They bring so much joy to the community, to people all around the country. And not only that, they do amazing work in the communities, in the schools, teaching young kids. They have amazing music programs and are just so vital to get people, young kids, involved in the arts in the most, you know, needy areas in our school, people who don't have the opportunities that, you know, the wealthier areas do. So getting people that first step into music is what River City Brass is all about, and supporting it is, you know, how we keep that going.
Are you a musician yourself? Do you play a brass instrument?
I am an enthusiastic supporter, and the band is grateful when I stay away from musical instruments.
Hard to top their quality. All right, Dominic, thank you so much for your non-stop support of the band. You're at Reed Smith right across the street, yes?
Right over, I think you can see my office at Reed Smith from here, so.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your work in the law on behalf of the city. And for River City Brass, here comes Maestro James Gourlay with more music.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks, Dominic, for all you're doing for the band. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. This is the last piece in our little set, and the microphone's dead again. So we're just breaking
James Gourlay, River City Brass, some of the greatest brass musicians, some of the greatest percussionists in the world are right here on the dock celebrating 40 years of the River City Brass, their 40th birthday bash. The chairperson of the board, the chairman, Dominic Ruprecht, is standing here next to me. Are we about to begin our ceremony? All right, Dominic, take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the River City Birthday Bash. I'm Dominic Ruprecht. I'm chair of the board of the River City Brass, and on behalf of the entire board, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I mostly want to thank Mary Schubert, our gala planner, for planning this amazing weather for us and not picking last Sunday to do this. But really, thank you everyone for coming out today. I'm just so pleased that we can all be here together as one big, happy River City Brass family, live and in person, to hear this amazing band and celebrate 40 years of incredible music. And I, of course, want to thank all of our sponsors, UPMC Health Plan, Highmark, Federated Investors, Huntington Bank, Trust Franklin Press, Ensco Long Insurance, WordRight Communications, Eaton Park, Dolores Nypaver, and of course Don and Annette Jacobson for everything they do. So again, please join me in thanking our sponsors for their incredible generosity. And with that, I am going to turn the microphone over to our incomparable, indefatigable, incredible, amazing, glorious, generous, beautiful gala chair, Mary Schubert.
Okay, how many drink tickets did Cindy give you? Welcome, everyone. We're so happy you're all here today. As anyone that's ever planned a party knows, these things aren't simple, but I have to say, as the chair, it was very, very simple for me because we had a great committee, and I want to thank the committee. But before I do, one sponsor was left off that Dominic was too humble to say. Dominic was also one of our sponsors for the event. So thank you, Dominic. He was also on the committee. Certainly we had Princess Leia, I'm not sure, she's here somewhere. James's wife was on our committee. And Amy McNeil was on our committee, Karen Bostic, Helen Monteleone, but the most important, the most important people are the staff of River City who makes this hum. So, of course, under the direction of James, we also have Abby, and Cindy and Andrew. They really made this work. So I thank them from the bottom of my heart. It made it all very simple for me. Welcome, have a great time. And now I'd like to introduce Paul Fariga, who is representing all of our current and past board chairs. Paul?
Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you for your hard work and that of your committee. What a wonderful day and event. Picture this. It's 1981. Ronald Reagan is president. Gasoline costs $1.31 a gallon. And a visionary named Bob Burnett had this crazy idea that what this country really needed was a professional brass band modeled on those in the United Kingdom. Somehow, this crazy musician got, quote, respectable, unquote, business people to jump on his bandwagon, literally. And the River City Brass Band was born. Today, we honor the leaders who've been crazy enough to help steer that bandwagon so that your River City Brass Band could make great music. With us today, as honorees, are these chairs of the board. Our current chair, Dominic Ruprecht, as you just heard from, myself, Paul Fariga, Don Jacobson, Ed Nicholson, Dolores Nypaver, Keith Smith, and Dave Wolliver. Representing Dave Figgins, who sadly left us recently, is his wife, Pearl Figgins, and daughter, Lynn Figgins. How about a round of applause for all these former chairs of the River City Brass Band? 4 decades since the founding of the band, we see what I believe is the golden age for this organization, the fulfillment of Bob Burnett's vision. And that is thanks to so many people here today, especially James, our great musicians, and our excellent staff. And let's not forget the supporters and subscribers, really all of us who love this band. Over the last 10 years, a lot of hard work from those we honor made this day possible. More than once in the last decade, we weren't sure the band was going to make it, but we did. Thanks to all that hard work, we entered the global pandemic of the last year in the strongest financial position we've ever had. And because we did, we have survived through talent, innovation, and sheer guts. And of course, the support of all of us who love the band. This love, this spirit, and the leadership that we honor today will allow the River City Brass Band to thrive for another 40 years at least. So wherever you are, raise a glass, raise your hand, and join us and toast all of these great leaders for making this band a reality for the last 4 decades, for today, and for all the tomorrows yet to come. Yeah. And now the most important portion of my speech. It's time for dinner. Thank you all.
Thank you, Paul. Well done. Bravo. Congratulations. Oh, my goodness. Are we going to see the history now, yes? Yeah. So we can tell everybody we're going to see the history.
Yes, we can say that we're going to see the history live online and in person.
And much more music from the band is on the way. We'll look forward to that, so stay right here.
Okay, it's kind of an interesting story.
The River City Brass Band has revived an American tradition in music. Around the turn of the century, there were 20,000 brass bands in America, 80 of them in and around Pittsburgh. 2 were company-sponsored employee bands at the H.J. Heinz Company. Others were sponsored by ethnic, fraternal, and political organizations. But their heyday didn't last long, according to Bob Burnett, founder and director of the River City Brass Band.
What interested me was why they stopped, and it appears that 2 reasons. One was the Depression back in the 1930s, when there were limited, if any, profits to support that kind of thing. And the other thing, which was told to me by some old-time union members, was that the corporations, when they were unionized about the same time, is the corporations no longer felt the same sense of responsibility for their employees, and they fully expected that the unions would take over that function, or that those functions would pass into the community. And of course, then what came along just about the time they might have done that was the Second World War. And the conjunction of those 2 things, the Depression and the Second World War, and it all went belly up.
I think it was a posting from the Musicians Union or something. There was an advertisement that this new band was forming.
We became aware that local gentleman was starting this brass band nobody knew much about. But the more we learned about it, the more interested many of the brass players got.
I got involved because I got a phone call from Bob Burnett. I think he was scouring Pittsburgh for baritone euphonium players.
Tony Pasquarelli apparently got a call one day, and I would say probably, I don't know, 1979, something like that in the spring, from an old friend of his from the Civic Light Opera named Bob Burnett. Bob was not a brass player, but Bob reached out to my teacher, Tony Pasquarelli, who was the trumpet teacher at Carnegie Mellon, and said, look, this is the plan. We're going to develop a brass band. I've got a board. We're going to go for an English-style brass band. Who can you recommend for me to talk to?
Bernard Black is a graduate of CMU, where he still teaches when he's not playing trumpet or cornet with the River City Brass Band.
Right off of one, ba-dee-da, okay? Because that's playing with the brass band can give you a lot of thrills, mainly because there are so many notes that go by so fast. You're playing violin repertoire, you're playing vocal repertoire, you're playing woodwind parts constantly. So we're getting to play quite a few more notes than one would be used to in a symphony setting, and it makes it that much more challenging. To tell you the truth, it's quite difficult sometimes.
If I'm recalling correctly, the highlight of those rehearsals were we rehearsed at the Iron City Brewery on I think it's Penn Avenue. That was big excitement.
The first couple of rehearsals were rough. The first rehearsal was extremely invigorating because a couple of the board members came to that rehearsal. It was at the Iron City Brewery in Bloomfield. And Dave Figgins spoke at the time. He told us at that rehearsal, I never failed at anything. I'm not going to fail at this. And he didn't. And after rehearsal, Iron City Brewery opened up the kegs for the brass band, which was a really great way to end the first rehearsal.
I entered Carnegie Mellon in the fall of 1981. And as we know, in early November of 1981 was the first performance. And I was at that first concert, sitting up in Carnegie Hall in Peanut Heaven, way up top, and thought it was a gas just listening to that. All the brass players were excited about auditioning for this new group that this guy is bringing into town. It's a brass band. None of us had ever heard of any of that stuff before.
I don't know, for me, I was a kid making money doing what I enjoyed doing. It was just a hoot.
I don't know that any of us really believed this thing would pan out, but as we got going further and further into it and realized how dedicated he was to it, and the folks that he had solicited and on the board to help get it started, became apparent everyone really wanted this to succeed.
They were having sub-auditions, and so I think I was a sophomore, maybe a junior in college. And I thought, what do I got to lose? I'll come and play. So I did. I went and played. It was My Old Kentucky Home theme and variations arranged by William Rimmer. I remember that like yesterday. First time I ever played a cornet, a true cornet, and that was the other thing. Bob insisted that all the trumpet players played cornets because that's what they did in Great Britain.
It was still kind of like heaven sent in some ways for me. To actually end up in Pittsburgh and end up being called by Bob and end up playing in the brass band was a dream come true in some ways.
One of the things I think I remember most about Bob was that he really wanted the environment to feel like family. He wanted the board members to interact with the players, which we did.
The first thing I'd say about Bob was he was a visionary. He had this vision to make this what it really became. He was a very, very highly intelligent guy, taught at IUP, was the head of the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts, very talented musician and arranger. He had all of the tools, plus he had the interest. And he had some very influential friends that made this interest possible for him. And they literally went to England and they studied brass bands, English brass bands. Before he came over to start this one, he knew everything there was to know about a brass band.
The work that Burnett and his musicians put into their performances is paying off. Audiences love the toe-tapping, spirit-lifting atmosphere of a River City Brass Band concert, and everyone feels like part of the family. A lot of that is due to Burnett's ability to arrange programs around themes that include just the right mix of familiar and new pieces.
I think that the repertoire of brass bands consists of music that people relate to, people of all ages. And I mean, it's just not the Sousa marches. It's the fact that we play folk music, we play Stephen Foster, we play Richard Rodgers. It's kind of the mainstream of American music.
He was very much a down-to-earth person, never tried to pretend he was anything other than who he was. He was very intense on the podium with his baton, gripped it he had to make sure it was going to stay there, but it never did.
People didn't own quality instruments. He had set up a loan program through the brass band that he would loan you the money to buy an instrument. Later on, we found out that was just Bob's money that he was loaning to people to buy instruments. So I was one of the first beneficiaries of that. He loaned me money to buy my first cornet. He was, I would say he was a very gentle person, very friendly, very open, but not really afraid to tell you what he thought. And sometimes that, as we were all new professionals, it was a little bit stern sometimes, but that was good because he knew what he was doing and we didn't.
We're back now at 8 o'clock on this Monday morning, May the 18th, in the city of Pittsburgh. Rather stirring opening. What? Gives you kind of goosebumps.
Next spring, the River City Brass Band, along with the Chicago Symphony and the Twyla Dance Company, will represent the United States at the bicentennial celebrations in Australia. They'll take with them all the spirit that a brass band exemplifies as Pittsburgh's cultural ambassador down under.
The River City Brass Band of Pittsburgh is the only professional brass band in the entire United States. These accomplished musicians will bring their musical message to Australia as they represent the United States in the Australian Bicentennial celebration.
We went and played a gig at Soldiers and Sailors, and they brought us into this big room at the end of the concert, and we're all there, and it was like a reception. But there were people from Amway. Now, Amway back then was known as like a pyramid kind of thing.
I'd like to introduce Richard M. DeVos, president of Amway, Michigan, who is the principal sponsor and underwriter of this tour. Rich?
There we are.
That's what you are.
I see. Well, it's a pleasure here to join with the River City Brass Band. More than that, it's an honor to be associated with Pittsburgh and the PPG company. You know, they got a lot of glass. We make glass cleaner.
My parents, they knew all about Amway, and stay away from Amway. Oh, you don't want to do that. But I mean, the company itself was huge, and we did not realize until that time that it was really an international big deal.
I think we took off and landed at least 32 times, so we were moving, but it was exceptional to have that opportunity and to have it while you're playing your horn with an organization that just happened to start in Pittsburgh. It was pretty amazing. And I think we all had a pretty good time.
It was really an honor to be representing the United States for Australia's bicentennial.
It seemed like almost too good to be true, and then it did turn out to be too good to be true. It was great. You're a bunch of guys for the most part, and women under 30, and they're going to take you to Hawaii for 10 days, and then they're going to take you to Australia for 30 days or 28 days. I mean, that was, who didn't want to do that? Everyone wanted to sign up for that.
I mean, that was just extraordinary. That's not even a strong enough word in some ways, but to be given the opportunity to go to Hawaii and Australia and New Zealand and to play.
Heretofore, what's happened is corporations give us money and say, here, go do your thing. And this is the first time where we've had people want to sit down with us and plan so that the thing is a really successful enterprise.
We were on stage playing a piece that we've probably paid, a couple dozen times at this point. And whatever happened on the stage, it was an indoor concert, and the power went out in the auditorium, and it just went completely black. And the band just kept playing. The audience was so, I don't know if they were astounded or just appreciative that the music never stopped, that we got applause right in the middle of the piece because they were just impressed, I guess, that, we didn't have to have the music in front of us to see what we were doing.
The trip was long and grueling. None of us actually expected it to be that grueling. We were just thinking, this is a vacation. It was not a vacation. We did one-nighters for basically a month. And that meant we flew to Hawaii, and then we did one-nighters for a week there. On a bus, off a bus, on a bus, off a bus, stay at a different hotel every night. Some of the hotels were good, some of the hotels weren't so good.
Whenever we weren't flying somewhere, we had to take the bus. Well, the bus, here we have, the buses and some trucks have things on the front of the truck to guard against hitting deer. Well, they have those on the buses for kangaroos. And like we have deer crossing, they've got kangaroo and wombat crossing signs. It was just such a different culture altogether. It was awesome.
The Sydney Opera House, you can't underestimate what that was like to sit in that opera house and play and walk out on that stage.
The people of Australia were treated us like royalty. We're probably the Australian equivalent in the brass band world of rock stars. They know their brass band, and they like Americans, and so we were the beneficiaries of a lot of that goodwill.
A month there, just about a month there, was tremendous. That also brought the band so close together, you can't believe it. Everybody it was like it was just a family.
Amway and PPG Industries have shown that music can span the oceans of the world and bring countries closer. The United States and Australia, two great countries separated by thousands of miles of ocean, drawn nearer with a musical gift of friendship.
We knew that Bob was not well, and at this point, honestly, none of us knew if the thing was going to continue after he had passed.
Bob's illness actually wasn't sudden. It had carried on for probably at least a year and a half, so everyone was realizing what was happening.
The Bob Burnett era, unfortunately, came to an end all too soon.
Bob conducted clear almost to the end. When Bob ultimately passed away, it was just, we all knew it was coming, but yet when it happens and reality hits, it's just kind of like, wow.
Yeah, I think when you look back and you think of people who made your life, he certainly was one of those people for me. Because if he hadn't made that phone call, I would have had a totally different experience from the 80s to almost 20 years, 15 years. So.
The River City Brass Band has really been the most enjoyable, most rewarding musical experience I've ever had. Number one, the band are the nicest group of people I've ever worked with in about 40 years of being involved professionally in music. And it really brings together a lot of strands in my own life, musical strands, things I believe in musically, but some social values and political beliefs, all of that stuff kind of comes to a focus. in this band. So it really has been, as I said, the most rewarding musical experience I've had in my whole life.
I think there was a lot of doubt at that point that the band would continue, which was probably pretty normal for everyone. I can tell you myself, I wondered, now what? What are we going to do now?
It was, I remember it was a shock to those of us who didn't find out until very late in his illness. And it was even more shocking again to realize that we weren't sure where the band was going to go at that point.
So literally, it was all up in the air whether the thing was going to continue. And fortunately, you know, Dennis grabbed the reins at that point and kept it going. So.
Well, I've always felt that the River City Brass Band was absolutely unique in the music industry. It was designed to fulfill a need that my predecessor, the founder and first music director of the River City Brass Band, saw in America, and that is the need to get professional caliber music out to the people.
I think Dennis took a lot of Bob's lead on the programming aspect, at least at first. You know, he still would maybe start with a march and then do a lighter song and then do you know, a solo, and again following Bob's similar pattern and outline of a program. But whereas Bob at the end of the first half would do a test piece from Great Britain, Dennis would program like an orchestral transcription. And it kind of just fit in that spot of the show, and that seemed to work for a long time. So,
I think Dennis brought a little more polished conducting and presentation skills. He was also very focused on upping the production that we presented as an organization.
We took a little bit of a different course, and it worked. It did work. The band became much better known. You could get on a U.S. Airways and plug your headphones in, and you would hear the River City Brass Band, and that was pretty cool.
Well, the first exposure to the band was I used to fly U.S. Air, and so I would be perusing the things that I could listen to and became aware of this brass band. You know, it was like jumping onto a moving train. There were a lot of, you know, there were people who picked up their horns the first day together practically, and had grown up together side by side in band and in district bands, and had gone to college together, and so there was this real long history and tradition, and had been a part of the organization since day one.
My first exposure to the band was actually on Sunday mornings doing rehearsals for the Westmoreland Youth Symphony. There were always programs for River City concerts, and I thought, wow, this looks really cool. And back in those days, they had a little diagram of where all the musicians sat, and I'd look at the names and I'd think, oh, that looks cool. That looks like something I'd like to see. I never saw the band until a few years later, a couple years later. They came to Katanning and played a concert, which is next door to my town, Ford City. And I got to hear the band. I was just blown away. Just so exciting.
This is the kind of work we all dream about. It's a blast. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and I'm glad for every minute I can put in towards the band. It really is a lot of fun.
We get to play just about anything that you can think of, and that's great.
I think we're lucky in that this audience, most of our audiences accept us right off the bat. We get to play for people that they like us, they love us before we play a note.
Hide it! It's piano. We stuck it in mute so that I didn't have to hear anything but texture back there. I need this to grow.
You know, going to school at CMU, studying with Tony Pasquarelli, you were inundated. It was just constant. You're gonna play with these guys, you know, working toward that. It was like almost like that was the ultimate goal, you know, for every trumpet player that went through CMU. And for a long time, all but one of the trumpet players in the band was a CMU grad, a Tony Pasquarelli student. So I think that actually lent itself to giving the band a certain sound.
We always tried to keep Carnegie Mellon and Duquesne and every other place that has great brass players in touch with all of us and keep us all sort of in the pool. We never actually said, that was the time when we decided that the band wasn't really 28 players. The band really pretty much consisted of about 50 players. And there were 28 core players, and then we had about that many more that would be on a moment's notice, ready to play and able to play. So yeah, we took some big strides in those years with Dennis.
It was so great because suddenly you're doing your job at the highest level individually, but then everybody around you is also giving their best. And there was this sort of esprit de corps, I think. For periods of time, the band has really had that. I think the band's getting back to that these days. But a real feeling of we're all part of a team. We're all part of a family. Even a family is a better way to put it. Touring with that band was so much fun, especially as a young man. We had a lot of fun. I mean, it was. I remember so many times in the early days, hanging out with Paul and Rick, the percussionists, and they would talk about, "Isn't this so much more fun than playing with the symphony?" And you know, the truth is, it was. After September 11th, and wasn't on the program, but Dennis wanted me to sing "God Bless the USA," and that was really poignant. That was bordering on difficult, just in terms of the feelings at that moment, and it was, I don't know, it was just such a moment to be a part of. You know, to be standing in front of an audience, a pretty big audience at the time, and to feel that connectedness to the audience, but also to feel that I was able to sort of harness that and build that into something bigger. It was a great moment.
By the time I joined River City, I'd been a performer for over 10 years and had done a variety of things, lots of stuff involving improv comedy and lots of just, you know, being on the mic and emceeing and doing a variety of things in addition to playing. You know, Dennis's philosophy was to try and bring out the personalities within the band, because there were just like all these fantastic personalities. And so, you know, if somebody had if you have the opportunity to have Drew Fennell sing, you should have Drew Fennell sing, because he sings great. And if you have the opportunity to have him play a beautiful solo, you should have him play a beautiful solo. And so what are the tools in your arsenal, and how can you deploy those?
I have to give Dennis a ton of credit, because over the years, especially through my younger years, when I just thought I was an orchestral trumpet player, he seemed to be able to see talents in people, and he would find them and he would exploit them. He would put you in a position to do that. You know, he would say, well, I believe you can do this, and sure enough, you could.
The band was always struggling financially, because by the time it got pretty dicey as far as financial picture was concerned, I was solidly in the general manager, controllership, whatever heck title they would have applied him at that point. And we were always, it was always a day-to-day, practically a day-to-day cash flow planning. You know, what bills can we pay now? Do we really think we're going to sell enough tickets to be able to make payroll next Friday? You know, those were just, that's the way the business ran, which was not always fun, but we found a way through it.
2003, 4, we all, you know, that was when everything started to really go down. There were some months where we thought we weren't coming back. Some of the winter months, it didn't look like we were coming back. So there was a lot of negotiation went on, and still some very timid times when we weren't sure how we were going to be able to work that out.
This is what I do primarily, so the idea of losing that, you know, in 2009, boy, those meetings, it was dark. It was a dark feeling.
We knew we were in bad financial shape at that point. We were all committed to trying to make it, to save it, to do what we had to do. And Dennis ultimately resigned, you know, that led us to the search process for a new music director.
James has the goods. He's hilarious, he's fearless, he's a phenomenal musician, he's a great conductor, he's clearly a gifted leader and administrator and a builder of things. And so, you know, the band is in really good hands. Look at the bottom line, you know, look at the audiences, look at what's going on. So,
where we had come from, it was so dark in those couple of days, couple of years in the early 2000s, to then James came and it's like the light came back on and the brass band can play again.
For me, like musically, the thing that changed the most is I would say that Dennis was very concerned about trying to rein in the sound of the band and keep it very measured and controlled. And I, you know, again, I get what he was after there, but I have to say I enjoy playing more these days. I feel very fortunate that things kind of rebounded the way they did, mainly thanks to James. I mean, you've got to give the man credit for somehow finding a way to sort of navigate really tumultuous waters.
There was no better choice than James for all of it. Someone who's done a lot of conducting work and a lot of leading of organizations, and someone who was committed to doing what was going to be necessary from a fiscal responsibility standpoint.
He's got a unbelievable talent of communicating and communicating clearly of what you got to do. You know, and as a teacher, if somebody's having an issue, even he's a tuba player, but you know what, he's a brass player ultimately. And so if there's an issue, he can help you right out. I mean, he knows what to do and how to get it done, which is awesome. Very respectful and sympathetic to the players too, regarding endurance, programming, most of the time.
Just like from Bob to Dennis, from Dennis to James, the level of expectations went up again.
His demeanor, he has the demeanor from the podium as a player. So there's no wall between conductor and players. You know, his approach to what's on the stage is he calls us colleagues, and he's genuine in that. You know, he believes that we're all colleagues.
I feel like the level of playing they get out of the players was fantastic. I feel like when the band would play, not test pieces, but pieces out of the British brass banding tradition, I had a much clearer sense of what that meant.
His expectation level was much higher than anyone we had ever dealt with. And that's because of his international experience. He played in brass bands from birth, probably, it seems, and played with some of the greatest musicians and greatest orchestras in the world. This group of people can play anything that he puts in front of them and sound really good doing it.
fortunate enough to be asked to tour Italy, and my Italian heritage can be traced back to the Naples area, and I've always wanted to visit Italy. So this was a dream come true for me.
The opportunity to go to Italy as the brass band and once again tour internationally. At the very end, we wound up playing in a medieval castle concert, which was very cool.
We took the bus up this windy mountain road that you know, people have nightmares about, looking over the edge. We got all the way up to the top and then drove over to the village square, to the castle, where we were performing. And it was like being in another time and place. The locals had prepared an after party for us in their town community center with some homemade food, and it was great. It was a tremendous get together, and the people were phenomenal. And after dinner, we're sitting around and things were winding down. Out come the teenage boys with these big 10-gallon gas tanks full of homemade wine.
But the people were so nice. I mean, they made a dinner for us and made us drink way too much wine. Made us drink way too much wine. Bevilo tutto was the word. It was the phrase. You were supposed to drink an entire glass of wine in one swig, and everybody pretty much did that. It was quite an evening.
So they had an agenda. I want to tell you, they wanted to see how Americans could hold their liquor. It was clear, and some of us knew enough to get out of there after a while, and some of us didn't. And I'll leave it at that.
Somebody was trying to get me to play my instrument. That was pretty funny. After doing the Bevilo tutto a few times, I couldn't even move my fingers right. So that happened.
Bangladesh was an eye-opener, boy, oh boy, oh boy. And there's two Dhakas. Where we were, primarily, it's like almost like a gated community without a gate. It's mainly like the politicians, different embassies for Bangladesh, and their families. We got a chance to go out and play in the real Bangladesh with, like, you know, not paved streets, and we go to this girls' school we played at, and actually the group split in two. So they had a quintet go to one place, and a couple guys went to another school, and it was a different side of life that we've never seen before. I mean, that was every bit the third world country that you'd hear about. "40 years, you kidding me?" Like, if 1981, anybody would have said, okay, so it's going to be 2021. You guys are going to be celebrating your 40th anniversary. Not one person would have said, really? You know, everyone would have just, you're out of your mind. I guarantee nobody would have thought that it would be still, we are the little engine that could.
I think it's a special thing. It's clearly a special thing, or it wouldn't be here anymore. And so I'm just grateful that I got to play a part in one, snippet of time over the 40 years. So
I always felt like I was doing something positive for people, and I think that's really what the band is all about.
For me, the looking back is to do with the people, and the opportunity to play a euphonium or a baritone or whatever with some really wonderful people.
The relationships that the band builds with each other is just awesome. I mean, that's my family. That's the biggest thing I miss about not being there. I miss my family.
The fact that you can move people, that people can be touched by the music and can feel something. I mean, what else do you want to do with your life? I mean, what could be better than that?
Brass at the 40th Birthday Bash. We're going to start off with some more music played by the 12-piece group from the band. The piece is called Journey to America. Enjoy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was a journey through America, a journey through America's music. And speaking of America, now we're going to come and play some music by the great big band leader, Glenn Miller. This is a march of a kind, but a march with a spring in its step. It's the American Patrol. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was American Patrol, and our jazz trumpeter there is Drew Fennell. And even if you're watching at home, give him a big round of applause. Thank you very much. And now I think it's over to Jim Cunningham.
James Gourlay and River City Brass on the 40th anniversary birthday bash, live from downtown, the Gateway Clipper in the city of Pittsburgh, watching the boats flow by. We're docked at the dock. We're not going anywhere, but a lot more great music is coming your way in just a few moments, so stay right here. I'd like you to meet David Wollaber, who's been chairman of the board of River City Brass. When did you serve, David?
Well, quite a number of years ago, Jim, so many more that I forget at the moment. However, I have the highest honor of being the board chair who hired James Gourlay from Scotland. We interviewed 3 people, and James was by far the best person. It was my job as chairman to recruit him from Scotland. Now, I was semi-retired at that point, and I called him from my place in Florida. There was about an 8-hour time difference, so we had to coordinate that. And I said to the rest of the board, I said, we're not going to get him. We can't pay him that much money to get him to come from Scotland. And son of a gun, he came. And after he was here, I said, James, why did you come to River City Brass Band? You could have gone anywhere and made more money. And he said, I always wanted to work in the United States. And he has repaid that honor because he and Leia have become United States citizens. We couldn't have done better, Jim.
It was the perfect choice, no question about it. Congratulations to you and the board of directors for getting James on board. But what a great history with Robert Bernaz and Dennis Colwell. The band has been great all along the way through 40 years now. Thanks for keeping it going.
Sure, thank you. And I remember, I've gone to concerts with my wife at all 3 of those directors. And nothing negative about the other 2, but no question, James is absolutely outstanding.
Now, there might be someone with us who's watching on the internet who has not been to a concert recently, who has not purchased a subscription. We've got to get them to Carnegie Music Hall or one of your other outposts. Why would you recommend you subscribe and be part of this band?
Well, other than the fact that they're outstanding, and that's the best reason, but the second reason is economical. If you look at the ticket prices of some of the other venues and River City Brass Band, you'll definitely come to River City Brass.
We'll be there together, that's for sure. Thank you for all the great work that you've done. And thanks for your great work on behalf of the city. You're Executive Vice President of Eaton Park.
Retired, but a great opportunity and a great company. Thank you.
I had a smiley waffle on Memorial Day, a smiley Belgian waffle. It does make you smile.
I can't tell you the number of times I've been to Eaton Park. It's in the thousands, I'm sure.
It still tastes great, and so does the music we're hearing today. More from the River City Brass and James Gourlay, David Wollaber, retired chair of the board.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we continue with some music. This is a piece of music that comes out of Cuba, made famous by the Stan Kenton Big Band, and even more famous by your River City Brass Band. It's called Malagueña. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Malagueña. And we're continuing with a Latin music theme right now with this next set, which we call Brass Ill. Get it? Brass, like brass band? Oh, never mind. Suit yourselves. We've got music by Tom Jobim and all the most famous bossa nova composers. We hope you enjoy Brass Ill. Latin medley. Loads of solos, hundreds. I'm going to stop at the end of every song. So this first song finishes at E. Now just stop, just watch. Easy, it's easy, don't panic. Just watch for it. Then you stop. Alright, let's try, here we go. Nothing is what go wrong. 1, 2, 1, 'The girl from Ipanema there, dedicated to my beautiful wife, Leah Havas, who's on the dock. And now, let's pass over to Jim Cunningham.
What a joy to be here at the dock, the Gateway Clipper, with the River City Brass celebrating 40 years. And you'll be able to hear them on the 4th of July. They're going to be down at Point State Park in the evening. We're looking forward to that and getting back to concerts at Carnegie Music Hall and all the other venues in the fall. The details will be coming. Check the website for updated information on all the events that will be planned for this season. I have next to me retired chair of the board. Is that possible? Dolores Nypaver. Nice to see you, Dolores.
Thank you, Jim. It's so great to be here, and it's so great. The band sounds just wonderful. It's a beautiful day. The food is wonderful. Isn't this a wonderful event?
Spectacular. So you got to be here next time, next year for sure. But come to a River City Brass concert and enjoy the spirit of the thing. Concert after concert. It's so great. Why did you get involved in the first place? You've been a regular.
Well, Jim, you know that I was always interested in the arts. When I was little, my dad always had all kinds of music playing at home. We listened to Pete Fountain, we listened to Al Hirt. I think when we grew up, we just all liked brass. And there's nothing like hearing brass at Christmas. There's just, and this band just plays it all so well.
You do love the arts. Where did that love of the arts come from? You've helped us at WQED. You've been behind the phones, answering the telephones for us. And I should explain that Dolores is in charge of stewardship for the Diocese of Pittsburgh. So when the offering plate comes around, you better put something in it, whether it's the River City Brass or the minister in the pulpit. You do great work for nonprofits here in Western Pennsylvania. But why the band? Why do you love it so much?
Well, I don't know, Jim. It's just one of those. I think I met James when we were in Rotary together. I said, James, you don't have any women on your board. I think you need a woman. So my background was fundraising, so it was a good fit. It really was.
Well, I know a lot of tremendous work has been done with you in charge, and thank you for your continued good service on behalf of River City Brass. Have a fabulous 40th birthday party here, and I'll look forward to seeing you. Come on out and answer the phones for us again sometime.
Thank you, Jim. I'll do that at the next invitation. Thank you so much for being here. This was really, really very nice.
Oh, so great. Dolores Knife-Haber, please give her a round of applause. And more from James Gourlay and the River City Brass celebrating 40 years.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Dolores. Now we go over to some more Latin music with Oye Como Va by Santana. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening at home, thanks for joining us on this live streamed component of the River City Brass 40th Anniversary Birthday Bash. Now we're going to change the style of music completely now, playing music by Scott Joplin, two pieces. The first is called the Bethina Waltz. That's followed by a much more famous ragtime piece that's called Elite Syncopations. We hope you enjoy these two pieces by Scott Joplin. All set, everyone? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Bethina Waltz by Scott Joplin. And now over to Jim Cunningham.
Thank you so much, Maestro. The River City Brass celebrating 40 years. Jim Cunningham from WQED FM in Pittsburgh at 89.3 on the dial. You'll be able to hear the River City Brass bright and early tomorrow morning. I'll be there 6 until 10. I didn't want to forget to mention we're sailing right here at the dock. We're not moving anywhere. The Empress is firmly in place, but we're having a great time celebrating the 40 years. And I have with me Phil Parr, board member of many years, and great distinction. Nice to see you, Phil.
Yes, thanks, Jim.
What do you do for this organization?
I am the Director of Development and Administration for River City Brass. I began that about 8 years ago. After I was recruited, I said, well, yes, I think maybe I could give about 5 years to that. And now it's going on 9 years. That's because I've found my time here and what I'm doing here for this great band, which is one of a kind in America, to be very exciting. And we've learned a lot as we move forward with our philanthropic endeavors. I think one of the key points, a seminal point, in fact, was when we brought in resources to do a capitalization in the arts plan for River City Brass. We looked at the past 4 years of our performances and the results of them, and the finances related to them, and we constructed a new business plan. And we moved forward to bring in the money to implement the capitalization plan, which freed us of debt, gave us working capital, and started to move us on a trajectory of having surpluses each fiscal year, which has greatly helped us as we moved into the pandemic.
Congratulations to you, Phil, for the great work that you've done in the philanthropic area with your board of directors, with all of your contributors and your corporate sponsors. It's absolutely amazing. All of the arts really have to work hard to raise the money, to keep the music going, to keep the art going, and you've done a great job of it.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful working with the board, and the staff is a super team to work with. We work together, we share our ideas. There's a lot of synergy that goes on and a lot of creative momentum forward. And I might add, I've heard from some in the philanthropic sector that we're the only performing arts organization in the region that is debt-free.
Congratulations, that's a major accomplishment, that's for sure. And of course, you're helping to educate young people. It's a continuation of the work you did on behalf of the school board in Oakland all those years.
That's part of my heart with River City Brass Band. I'm so happy, and then recently, James had the insight to add K through 3 students also to the School of Brass. So now we're educating K through 12, and it's just exciting to watch what this extracurricular support does to help these young musicians grow and develop and have aspirations for the future.
A job well done. I'll see you on the 45th and the 50th for sure. All the best to you, Phil.
Jim.
Philip Parr, River City Brass, in charge of development. Abby, any update here? We're getting close to the end. We got to have a toast somewhere along the way. Maybe we'll hear tequila. I don't know.
I don't know about that, but as you mentioned, we do have a toast that's going to be towards the end around 6:30. For those of you in person and at home, please have a drink handy. But what I wanted to say is, for those of you attending in person, we are almost about to draw the numbers for the raffle. Now, we will not be announcing them. They will be posted on the table on each item. So just keep your cards handy at the end of the event, and you can check the table. And now, back to some music.
Thank you very much, Abby, and thank you very much, Jim. And now we're going to continue with some music taken from a very famous movie. This is the latest version of the Rocky franchise. It's Rocky 522, and this is The Eye of the Tiger. The Eye of the Tiger there, and our jazz trombonist in that piece was Gabriel Colby. Please give him a round of applause here on the dock and at home if you're watching on the live stream. We're coming now to a piece of music that's made famous by a great trumpeter. His name, of course, Louis Armstrong, and the piece is When the Saints Go Marching In. We hope you enjoy it.
It must be time for a toast. Congratulations, 40 years with this fantastic band. You make the most of it, you really do. Bravo.
Thank you very much, Jim, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great ride so far. Here's to the next 40 years.
Absolutely.
And I'll still be conducting. And I'll only be 105, but I'll still be going strong.
We want you, that's for sure. People are living longer, James. Now listen, you grew up in Scotland. You were in the BBC orchestra. Your degree at Leeds, and you're a clinician all over the world, teaching in Juilliard and Eastman. But you've made Pittsburgh your home, and America is your citizenship these days. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you, Jim. It's a great privilege to be an American citizen, and I just love Pittsburgh. And I'm learning the language as well. I've been practicing to say downtown, read it up, and let's make it a bit slippy.
Downtown is beautiful when the band is here. Everybody sounds fantastic today, and we'll see you on the 4th of July. You'll be at Point State Park.
We'll be at Point State Park, 4th of July, with a patriotic program appropriate to that great day, that great holiday. So come and join us down at Point State Park. You're sure to hear some great music.
All right, well, we have just two more important things to do. A toast, of course, but also the name of the winner here. This is the education payout. And do you want to announce the name of the winner, please?
And the winner is, drum roll and train passing, Paula Fager. Paula Fager, is that how you say that?
Absolutely.
Paula Fager, you're the winner. Thank you.
So we'll get you your payout, that's for sure. And now, can we have a glass for the maestro? We have to have a toast. We have a Scottish toast ready to go. What do we have for 40 years?
Slanjava! River City Brass Band.
1, 2, 3, Stupa! Fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers, everybody.
40 more, bravo.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you if you've been watching the live stream at home. It's been a great pleasure playing for you this evening. And we thank you for your continued support on this 40th anniversary, this 40th birthday bash of the River City Brass. Thank you very much and have a very nice rest of your evening. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. With that.